Hi there, welcome back to All Things Home Care. I'm your host, Dana Arnone, and I am here today with some amazing women. Christine Pellegrino, who is our District 9 Assemblywoman running for re-election in November. So happy to have you here. Norma, who is the founder of the Lewy Body Dementia Foundation, located, is that in Long Beach? Long Beach. So we're going to talk to you about your foundation. And Catherine, who is the owner of her Community 2, which you're a blogger and a community, someone that's really out there helping support women.
Absolutely.
And talking about women's issues and all things important to women, because we're women, right? So for me, I always like to talk to other women who have the same passion that I do. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. I've always worked. I've never not worked. So for me, it was a little easier because I was a registered nurse, and you have flexible schedules and stuff like that. But I'm always impressed, and I always like talking to other women who are hard workers, want to make change, have missions and purpose in life, so that maybe we can give some hope or some direction to other people watching the podcast. So for Christine, we're new friends. Got to know you. I was never a political person at all. I'm still not much of a political person, I have to say. I'm very much an independent thinker, but I do align myself with you. I do like what you say, which is not an easy thing for me to to talk about. I'm going to get hit from my friends about this.
That's all right.
But it's important, and you're important, and what you're doing is important. You said something to me the other day that I thought was very important when I was talking about my friends who may be Republicans out there, who think I should be Republican. They hate Democrats and they hate everything that they stand for. And when I said something to you, you said that your issues are community-based,
correct,
not politically based, although you are a Democrat.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
and I'm an independent.
And you're an independent. And you're a mom, and you're a teacher, and you're someone that can think for yourself and definitely try to make change on many levels that were important to people in the community.
Absolutely.
I think people lose sight of that when they start talking about politics. They just think of the party lines, which again I don't know anything about. Corey knows that. So for me, it's more about the person, the individual, and what you stand for.
Right.
So I'm excited for people to hear you. I'm excited for people to hear what you're about. So I would be thrilled for you to start telling people what your platform is and what you're running on.
So I was a teacher before I got involved, and I don't consider myself to be a politician. I ran as a community leader, as somebody who was trying to make change for the community, because as a mom, as a teacher, we need voices that are independent and stand up for our community in a way that is nonpartisan right now. And the issues that we're facing in our community, the strength of our public schools, the property values that we're protecting through reinforcing funding for public schools, the environment, making sure that we have a secure environment. We have, threats of toxic cancer-causing chemicals right now that we have to deal with on Long Island, the threat of offshore drilling. These are things that are not political. They are they're human issues, and I'm up there fighting for more funding and for protection of our community in a place and with a voice that can call together and a coalition of support, and I can get things done because I am a member of the majority party, which is an advantage to having me in this community, which means I can bring resources and funding. So in the last 2 years, since I was elected in 2017, I've been able to deliver over $500,000 for our Long Island schools in this district. That's a considerable amount.
I don't think people know how hard that is and how important it is. People always just say, oh, it's a Democrat or it's a Republican, whatever, but they don't realize that what you're doing will impact their children. So whether or their families or someone that they know. So they don't, even though they may not align themselves with the political thoughts, they don't understand that it's the issues and the things that you're fighting for and the change that you're trying to create.
Absolutely.
That's what I see anyway.
Absolutely.
So
and the other thing is that one thing that we have to understand is that people talk about it as Democratic versus Republican. It's not. We really have is a system of majority versus minority, and when you're in the majority, you have access to control over committees, which means legislation, and it means access to funding, which means that our libraries get funded, our schools get more funding, our programs, whether it be the Boy Scouts or great programs like Drug Free Long Island, which I was able to deliver money from. Those are all benefits to the community when we have access to being able to get more resources brought home. So do we have political affiliations? Sure, but that really matters a little bit less when you have somebody who's fighting for issues that are nonpartisan, right? We live on Long Island. Our public schools are the most important thing that we have in our community And the strength of our schools determines our ability to make a pitch to a realtor to say, come and live in our community, and that brings tax dollars into our schools and delivers good programs, and that's something that people always have on the front of their mind when they're thinking about where to live, and buying new homes is part of that. So, and we want to make sure that our communities are economically stable, having sort of talking points around what makes a community a good community is a great selling point. And somebody who's a teacher, I'm committed to that, and I've seen what's happening in the last few years. So I'm
So as a teacher, how did you get into the role of politics? What led you to where you are today?
So, I mean, as a lot of people, have the experience that when things are going well, you're sort of not so, those things don't matter to you so much getting involved. And then when things take a turn for the worse, you start to think about what's going on. And what wound up happening was that some budgets were failing, and we got hit with the Common Core testing standards that were developmentally inappropriate, and the underfunding of our schools was causing real problems in the communities in the district that I was teaching in. So I got involved in my union, which made it easy for me to get up to Albany and speak to the legislatures, our representatives. And that's where I really started learning about what minority versus majority was, and how the representation that you have there is going to really determine what your funding levels can be in terms of their individual ability to drive home money outside of the state budget. And being able to see firsthand what a voice is at the table, that was an eye-opening experience for me. So as things and the fight for public education and high-stakes testing went off the rails, and our kids were faced with developmentally inappropriate standards that were then tied to teachers' evaluations, which is an unfair way to evaluate teachers by their test scores, I got involved in educating parents and teachers about why we need to opt out, and we talk about opt out of high stakes testing. So kids in grades 3 through 8 are faced with an exam that doesn't measure what they learn in English and math, and it's extraordinarily unfair, and it's weaponized by other entities, and we have the ability to, as parents, we have the right to say, I don't want my child to take that test. And we did an extraordinary amount of education on that. And through that process, people got to know me as a community leader. And when the seat opened in 2017, right after the election, I got called on by a lot of people to run. And it wasn't something that I was really excited about, being a politician. I was a full-time teacher, I had a family, I'm a mom. I could never imagine myself losing my teaching position, but it got to the point where I thought, if not me, then who? If I wasn't going to do this, who was going to do it?
I think a lot of us say that, though.
Right. I mean,
I think any female leader says to themselves, if I don't do it, who else is going to do it?
Who's going to do it?
And if you don't speak up, then shame on you.
But don't you think that's a mother mentality?
Absolutely.
Because when you're working, you got to clean the house, you got to take care of the kids, you got to balance
it.
You got to do everything, take care of the dogs or whatever. It falls on you, so no matter what, you got to get up every morning.
That's right.
And you don't have that, I'm going to say, that luxury to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
Sick day, right?
Maybe another day.
Right.
It's nothing like that.
No.
So, but you take those skills outside into the real world, and you see what you see, and you're all like, well, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can make a change. And I think that's what I clicked with you with, was that you took it, you ran with it, and you're doing it.
And teachers just by design are problem solvers. They look for solutions that are creative and that are community driven, right? We're leaders in our community in a way that we build trust, because we have our children, in our best interest, right? We're always looking out for our kids, the students that we teach, or the families that we interact with. We're the front lines for that. So we're inexorably tied to what communities are need, and people, trust teachers to have a fair voice, and I think that I've proven that. In the last,
I do.
Since
for me, I always think that there's a moment or a series of moments that make you go in a certain direction. I tell my story all the time, so I'm not gonna say it again. But for me, it was, I never thought I was gonna be a registered nurse. I never thought I was gonna own a home care company. I never thought I'd be sitting next to you on a podcast or any of you lovely ladies. But sometimes things just happen, and just Mildred and I talk about it all the time. That if I don't stand up and say something, well then shame on me, and who's gonna do it? So we are the voice in our company for the elderly. I'm the voice for many people that go into people's homes, and we try to change who's entering the home, who's caring for the patient, how the care is being rendered. There's many companies that do what we do, but they don't do the way we do it. And for me, it's very important when I see something happening. I have my friends will tell you, and I'm sure they're probably going to tell me very soon. Dana's got the biggest mouth in the neighborhood, but God gave me that mouth for a reason. And if I don't share my mouth with people, then why am I here?
Right.
So,
but you're not using that mouth to advocate for things that are harmful.
No, of course
using
not.
that voice, right? And I think that we all kind of have that in common, to advocate for the good, and for the good of your community, the good of your family, the good of the world, and the future that we see that we want to leave for our kids.
What's happening? Our legacy. Right. That's why, Norma, you're sitting here amongst us. We're newly meeting for each other, so we don't really know each other, but we had a conversation. You are the founder of the Lewy Body Dementia Foundation. It's not a new diagnosis to me, but I think people are starting to learn about it. You told me about it because it's what Robin Williams had passed away from. So your foundation, it speaks to what we're all talking about now. There's something that obviously made you go in that direction, starting the foundation. So what
Absolutely.
was it?
So it's actually the Lewy Body Dementia Resource Center.
Okay.
And I founded it 2 years ago with 4 other former caregivers who all had family members who had the disease. And though people think this disease is rare, it is not. It's the second most common form of progressive dementia after Alzheimer's disease. 1.4 million people have it.
It's scary.
It is very scary, and nobody has heard of it for a number of reasons. One of them is that it's often misdiagnosed. It's misdiagnosed as Alzheimer's, as Parkinson's disease, as a psychiatric disorder, because the symptoms are a combination of dementia and Parkinson's and hallucinations and a REM sleep disorder, depression, and more. So, for instance, Robin Williams was misdiagnosed with depression and solely Parkinson's disease, which happens a lot because you cannot diagnose it easily in a doctor's office because you're not seeing everything. Also, a key component to it are fluctuations. Other than like someone who has Alzheimer's disease, they may be the same more or less every day. Someone who has Lewy body disease will fluctuate and could talk about politics with you today, and later tomorrow may not be able to answer a simple question. And the reason why it's crucial for the diagnosis, because there's no cure for Alzheimer's, no cure for Parkinson's, no cure for Lewy body dementia, is because people with Lewy body are extremely sensitive to medications. And if they are given an antipsychotic, one of the older ones, for hallucinations that are very frightening to them, if they have those, they can go into something that's called neuroleptic shock syndrome and can make them much worse. And also for someone who may be given, I don't have a medical background, so I just want to specify that, but because I've been leading the only support group in New York for 11 years, the only one in Nassau County for 10 years, I've heard hundreds of people speak about it. We have a live helpline now too, and also I have the best doctors on my board, neurologists, who have told me all of this. So, and also Susan Williams, Robin Williams' wife, was a keynote speaker at our gala a year ago. And it's known that he had hallucinations after being given medications for Parkinson's, which sometimes affect people Lewy body. Yes, so there's more being done. We're trying to bring much attention. But to answer your question about why I started is my mom had the disease, and I knew about it from the day she said she couldn't do her checkbook at 75 years old, and bringing her to a doctor who said it's a normal part of aging that she couldn't remember at 75, which it is not. And from then on, and the disease usually takes a course from about 4 to 8 years after diagnosis that people last. My mom had it for 18 years. She lived with me for the last 7 years, all of which she was bedridden. And I was on the board of the only other Lewy body organization in the country in Atlanta for 3 years. But then I saw that resources were so needed here. I was the only contact person in all of the New York area, that's including all the 5 boroughs, Nassau, Suffolk, Westchester, Connecticut, New Jersey didn't have support groups. I would be the only person that people were calling, where do I get a hospital bed? As running a home care agency, finding aides were the most frustrating thing. So I wanted to have a resource center. That's why it's called the Lewy Body Dementia Resource Center, so that I would have everything on that website. And the website, the shortened version is lbdny.org, has everything, not just information about the disease itself, but all caregiving options and resources so people know where to go. And I, as a daughter who was taking care of her mom, would get so frustrated because I couldn't get the answers. And someone said to me after a year, why didn't you ask a social worker? Why didn't you ask a nurse? I said, I didn't know to do that. And where do you find one?
Right.
And so I wanted to help as many people as I could. And working now with the other 4 women that I work with, what's most important to me, and for our tagline is bringing awareness and supporting with love. And that was key to us, because everyone needs to know about this disease so that they don't get mistreated, but also we are there to care for them. We have a helpline 7 days a week, and that's what's most important to us, is to be there. Thanks.
It's important because I believe that's what my dad had, because he had he passed away in 2007, but we were constantly getting he's got Alzheimer's, he's got dementia, he's got Parkinson's, he's got all this, and we're like, how can you have all of these, they were giving him different kind of, he had hallucinations. He was having all of these, and I remember them saying it could possibly be something that
Lewy body dementia?
That a young doctor, very, very, I believe he was a resident, he had mentioned that, and the other doctors are like, no, he was dying of organ failure. He was taking all these different kinds of medications every single day for the past 20 years, and so finally his organs were failing. But it was all what you said. It was like, first they told us that he had Alzheimer's, then dementia, then he's got Parkinson's disease, then he's having these hallucinations. He was chasing my mom with he was like the sweetest guy.
Yes.
And he was like doing all these crazy things, he thought she was something else. And this was back in 2007. When he passed away, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then so finally I went out there and I was talking to the doctor. The doctor goes, I believe this is, what he has, but unfortunately it's too late for the treatment because his organs are failing. It's going to be a domino effect. And I never bothered to really look into it. Then my mother just recently passed away, and my sister was telling me that she had early signs of dementia. And then, but she also had congestive heart failure, so that's when she passed away. So we didn't look more into anything, like that. But the things that you were saying, it just resonates when that young doctor, and this was 11 years ago.
And there was even less known then.
Way less known. He goes, I think it's this, but I'm not really sure. But from what your family members are telling me, we didn't think. We knew it was too late. We knew he was going.
And it's not that there's a cure, but there are ways to handle things earlier on and make sure that that the wrong meds are not given as well.
Right. See, I think that's why the podcast, you're proving a point to me right now. Like, people need to hear that information. And I know, like, I've been in community nursing most of my career, not having the company, but I've been in home care for a very, very, very long time. And I used to sit there in people's houses and just like, I gave them so much information. Right. The mutual friend that we have, I would be like giving out so much information they'd get confused. Right. So I used to sit there and go, well, I don't know how to tell them, because for me, it's we do this podcast for information sharing, because there is definitely somebody out there that just heard you, that is definitely going to be thinking about it or listening to Catherine about her experiences with her father, and it might be having them think about it and knowing that there's help out there. Right. Like everybody knows the Alzheimer's Foundation, but no one knows
Absolutely.
about the Lewy body. So it's good that you're here.
Thank you,
but
Dana.
the point to what we're trying to make here is, other than the foundation, is that women standing together, joining together, trying to create change. My husband's so sick of me talking about it, but it's too bad. So for me, it's
it's not going away.
It is not going away.
Right.
So and thank God, because it's time. So supporting someone as for candidacy like Christine, is very important to us. We're having a fundraiser coming this Friday, which is something we want to talk about. So Catherine and I are hosting for you.
Thank God.
We're very proud to do that.
Thank you.
I've never done it before, so this is new for me.
Yep.
So
it's like a party with a twist.
It's kind of like a party with a twist, except for it's instead of getting beyond the velvet rope, you got to get it beyond the pay the admission for the donation.
But it's going for a good cause, though.
It's going good for a good cause. We need women in government. I have a blog that's called Her Community Too, which means it's her, meaning the female. It's her community too, for her to take care of it, for her to participate in it. A lot of moms, they feel, I feel they feel maybe inferior. They don't know how to get into any type of community, whether it be government, education. You know, maybe women don't know, but it's very easy. I mean, I'm not educated in by no means in any type of politics or government, but just mainly English. But I use that just to get in to organize and to support women from all backgrounds. We all share the same thing. We're all wives, mothers, children. We have children, we have homes. I mean, and we all need to, instead of tearing each other apart, we need to support one another. No matter how successful the other one is or the isn't.
And you could see that we have sort of been left out of the conversation, and that's because who represents us doesn't really look like us.
But I find women
Yes.
are the ones who are balancing or juggling everything successfully. I mean, because I know that I can help my daughter with her homework while I'm cooking, washing dishes, loading the dishwasher, putting that load in the laundry, and then still find time to take the laptop on my couch while we're watching TV and I'm writing something, you know, and taking notes down. And so with Christine, when I met you, I was like, I really like this because you were a teacher. I never even knew what opt-out was. I just knew
the education,
the Common Core. I just knew. I would just take. I would take. I would tell my daughter, just take the tests. I took tests in school. Just take the tests. But what I didn't realize, what it was based on, they were teaching her what she needed to do to pass the test, not just regular basic education, you know, that she needs to know just to pass. I'm a horrible test taker. I remember in high school, I have anxiety. So the teachers would take that into account and let me take the test separately because I go into panic mode. And I was always a good student, but when it came to tests, forget it. So that needs to, it does. And even my daughter now, she's 12, she has anxiety. She goes into panic mode. She is on the honor roll, but the day before, she literally is like panicking. She like Rain Man. She's like, oh my God, I gotta study. You know, so, but Common Core, I think it's that added pressure.
Absolutely.
We're unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. Come on.
Areas in terms of what we emphasize in school.
Other ways
there's so much less.
To categorize teachers, their strengths and weakness. You know, if you're a teacher, you know, there's other ways to evaluate them.
Teaching is inherently an act of love. And when
just
you're
like
teaching
caregiving.
that really is. And when
love,
when
it's
you
a calling,
are, it really is. But when you are in the act of teaching, and you are engaged in the act of love, then information can be, you know, shared between the giver and the receiver, right? And it's more facilitating.
But you know what I noticed about you, Christine, that when someone talks to you about an issue, you're like listening. You're not like going, yeah, okay. You're listening.
Of course.
You know, you're paying attention, but you get those politicians that do
learner,
that.
Right? I'm like, I come to this world in a place where I want to know what is happening and learn. And that is one of the things that people have said about me since I'm elected that they really like, is that I'm actively involved in understanding. I might not be expert in every issue, groups that come and they want advocacy around things. But I am there to learn, and I will fight for what is necessary to help my community survive and thrive. And I'm a voice for women and women's empowerment, and you know, for lots of other things.
And I feel the same way, because women empowerment, I think men feel that that's women against men, and it's not. Women's empowerment is to support one another so we can succeed. Whether it's, and what I like about you about the environment, I grew up in Southern California where they had offshore drilling, and there's tar coming up on the beach. That's something we do not need on Long Island.
This is our women's. This is our.
If anybody wants to read on Her Community Too, you just go to her-community, the number 2.com.
So we have some upcoming events that are critical to helping me get reelected, because First of all, the connections that we have,
yes.
right? The connections that we have are essential, and that helps drive good policy. Having me there as the voice, and unfortunately, that does take financial assistance, which is something that we all struggle with, right? Like asking for money and getting financial assistance and support is something that women have difficulty with. It certainly is something that I have difficulty with. I never had to do anything like that before in my life as a teacher, but I love teaching, and now I'm doing this.
So we have the fundraiser coming this Friday, 6 to 8. You can inbox Dana Arnone.
Yes.
Mildred.
It's on our Facebook page.
It's
People
on-
are sick of me sharing it, but you can go on there.
Inbox
Again.
us. You can inbox me.
Right.
I will definitely send you my address.
And it'll be a great night.
8. It's in Deer Park. Inbox us for the address.
And come out and support Christine, like we're trying to support Christine, because we really want to help her get reelected and to help, move forward all the things that you've been doing and keep it going, because it's very, very important.
And to help, because Reliance needs the assistance also. We need to work together
Right.
in order for a movement to occur.
Absolutely.
With women coming back to work.
She
with-
doesn't stop talking. She's
You
not even
know-
on
you
the
know that-
podcast. And she's talking from the sidelines. She's talking. She's preaching.
That's passion right there.
Come here. Just real fast. We're gonna have to. So talk about we have the event coming up on Friday. Like we said, Catherine and I are hosting.
Yes.
We would like our friends to come
Yes.
down. Even our Republican friends come
Oh, we
down.
need them.
We need them. We
Yes.
want them. I know
You know why? Because
Well,
this is
Republican. This
I
is
just
where we
started
all.
something.
This
I
is where
shouldn't
we
have
can
said
all.
that.
This is where we can all
Microphone.
agree. We can all agree that it doesn't. That home care. There shouldn't be a political line, because everybody needs it, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whether you're conservative, independent, whatever you are. Your loved ones need care, and we can help you.
And
So
your
at the
children
end
need
of-
education,
Yes.
and the other
Yes.
thing, just to end it off, because he's gonna get mad. But the thing that I didn't realize was that your involvement within Massapequa and the drug epidemic in our community.
Yes.
We live here. I live in Massapequa.
Right.
We
didn't
she lives in
even say,
Massapequa.
The
So
$50,000 I put into the Yes Center right here in
Yeah, very
Massapequa
important.
helps to
Super
drive
important.
resources into an amazing organization that helps with.
so how could you Republicans argue that?
Yes.
No,
Well,
I'm talking to my friends. They know who I'm talking to right now.
There's
so
no
it doesn't matter.
it really is.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that we have to work. We have to work together, and that's something that I
And
really
together,
am
women,
committed to
we
doing.
can do a lot. There's a saying that says one finger, maybe not, you can't do so much, but 5 creates a mighty fist. And we can do a lot. So all of you women that maybe haven't had the courage or the power to stand up and come join us, now's your time. Stand up, come join us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Thank you.
So Friday, Deer Park, Catherine's house,
Awesome.
fundraiser for Christine
Everyone clap for each other.
Pellegrino. Thank you, Mildred. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Catherine. I look forward to many, many years of working with you ladies. I think that we
Absolutely.
can do great things together. So you can visit us at RelianceHSNNY.com, and you can follow the link. You can support Catherine. Why do I always want to say Catherine? Because I'm looking at her.
Christine.
Christine Pellegrino and her.
Catherine might unseat you in the future.
No, I'm an organizer. I'm not a politician. I'll
Friday,
support her.
Going back
I'm
to
just
the
saying that
benefits.
now.
I know.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
Pellegrino,
join us.
producer.
Please.
PellegrinoForAssembly.com.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah.
So
Go head over to PellegrinoForAssembly.com. You can see my platform, the things that I've been up to, accomplishing. Considerable number of accomplishments since I'm elected in 2017, and you can drop a contribution right there. Thank
Yes,
Please do. She
Please
doesn't,
do.
I want to just say another thing. It's hard to ask for yourself, but we're not asking for ourselves, we're asking for you. So please donate money for yourselves. These are for causes that will help you, not us. This is to help yourself. So please, make a donation.
Plus, you get to come out Friday night and see all of us.
yeah,
Come on, come take a pic with me.
Go around
yeah.
everywhere.
you.
Norma's next anyway.